We are starting. My name is Marta, and I appreciate that you agreed to chat with me today and to answer my questions. So in the beginning, I would like to ask you to tell me something about yourself.
So I am originally from Guatemala, but I've been moving around my whole life since I was a child. So jumping from one place to another. I did my university in California, and eventually I came to Prague. And my background is in East Asian studies, Buddhism, yoga, and meditation, this sort of Eastern philosophies.
Yeah. And you do this as well, like meditation and yoga?
Yes. That is all what has been fermenting the process to now do this practice of forest bathing.
I see. Because you do also some alternative medicine, right? As I found on the website or Facebook.
Yes, I'm a craniosacral therapist, which is also working with the bones, the spine. But I my approach is a biodynamic approach, so it's very much on stillness and honoring that somatic intelligence, that innate intelligence, and the universal forces that are moving us.
Okay, so this is the stillness, or could you explain what is this basically?
Say that again?
What is stillness basically? Because I'm not sure.
So stillness, when you become, in a sort of, if you're meditating, you come into stillness. But I use that also in the therapy. So through stillness, you are receptive, and the client's system, the body speaks to you. It's sort of, the information comes in, but you need to be very still to be able to tune into those very subtle vibrations and rhythms of the body.
So basically, the client have to be like mindful during the therapy.
And you learn through it, because it's a relationship. It's relational work. And through a very gentle contact, what I'm doing is augmenting, I'm amplifying the sensations in your body. So you learn how to listen to the sensations of the body. It's embodiment and awareness.
Okay. And I have another question. If you actually live in the forest, and what kind of forest is needed for such therapy?
So I moved here. I'm living in Ujesnadlesi, which is still the district of Prague, but it's right next to this Klanovice les, this forest. I was on a train and I saw it, and it seemed like a perfect place to have both worlds of, I can go in to work in the city, but as soon as I get out of the train, I walk through the forest to get to my house.
I see.
My house is next to the forest in a little village. And so I need to walk through the forest because the train station is in the middle of the forest, sort of.
I see.
So it's a very new place. I've just moved here 6 months ago.
Okay. All right. Like in
in
Prague, you're like 6 months. You are in Prague already, or?
No, I was living in the city in Prague.
Okay.
And then during the pandemic, with having to be at home more time, and my son having school at home, and we were really needing nature. Nature is natural support. So I just looked for the opportunity to move and found this place, and here we are.
Okay, I get it. And
And I do try to spend as much, every summer I'm usually in the forest. So I just feel I'm a direct connection. I've spent a lot of time in nature, hiking, camping, and you were asking me about, yeah.
What kind of forest is needed actually for such session?
It doesn't have to be specific, and you don't even need a forest really to practice making contact with nature. It's just because in a forest you are so immersed in it and surrounded by it that it makes it a little bit easier to connect, because there's so much information from the forest around you. But with practice, you just need a plant, you can do it. Nature is all around us, and if we start to perceive it, then you just can connect to it at any moment, from the water that it goes out of your faucet to the plant out in your window sill. But the forest is supportive, and it's a good place to start, and it doesn't matter what type of forest.
Okay. And could you actually explain what is forest bathing exactly and how it differs from just slow walk in the forest? Basically, how such session look like?
So the name forest bathing is a translation of Japanese, from a Japanese word called, the name being Shinrin Yoku. That's the direct translation. And I guess in the 80s, there was a lot of research done in Japan on the benefits of mindfulness in the forest, being mindful in the forest, connecting to the senses to rejuvenate and heal. So there was a lot of work. Yeah, so all from that research, then they made it part of the health system, and sort of it's already part of the system, sort of. So from there, that's where it starts. That's how I got the name forest bathing. What was the other part of your question?
How the session look like usually?
So the way that I've been presenting it, since it's the main, what's different? Oh yes, what's different from just having a walk in the forest is to practice being mindful, being present, awakening the senses. So in that sense, it's different. Instead of you just walking and having a chat or being busy in your head, getting out of your head a bit and opening up to different senses. So you're looking, you're smelling the forest, you are listening to the sounds, the birds, the leaves, feeling it on your skin. So it's really about awakening the whole body, all our senses, waking up our senses.
And
so
you are
yeah.
You are guiding your clients how to do this, basically, yes?
Yes, because it takes practice. Even though it is innate in all of us, we are sensual beings. We've been so focused on our analytical mind that we've forgotten how to connect to the body and the sensations of the body. So with my background in somatic awareness, I start with exercises on how to sensitize your mind into the sensations of your body. So we do some movements, so you get in contact with the body, and then from there we start to do little perception exercises in the forest. So it starts with narrowing down to what's happening, just in front of you. So you're feeling the sensations of your feet, making the contact with the ground, and you're just looking down, just looking at the details around your feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the first exercises. And then a little bit with practice, we start to look a little bit up, a little bit farther, so we can start letting more information come in until, and this has it's a process, it's a progressive exercises until eventually you can notice the whole forest, without needing to focus in. You can have a really broad, wide field of perception.
Mm-hmm.
And you connect to those sort of instinctual sense, it's like you feel like a bit like an animal in the forest, just sort of connecting you feel like one more, and the animals start to come out. You're not coming in and what is the word? You sort of blend into the forest, and the animals are not afraid of you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
So it's such sensation, basically. Like you could be becoming part of the forest, like part of the nature. And
sort of connecting to that instinctual sense, to our very basic instincts. How to it's a sensory connection to the forest. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm. And where did you actually get such idea to do such session, like forest buffing?
Well, walking through the forest every day, I've started with a little, once a day, and then I found myself going twice a day into the forest, and then I noticed that if I didn't go into the forest, I wasn't feeling as good, and so I just started to experiment with that. And I had heard about this Japanese practice, and because of my background in mindfulness, so it's just very natural for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been practicing. I have a teacher that I had learned from also how to do these practices in nature. So it's finding that support from nature, and it's a spiritual practice too, in the sense that it's very fulfilling to slow down enough to see that within that quiet stillness of nature, is very vibrant and dynamic. Things are still moving and changing, and life is happening, but at a very slow pace. And
Mm-hmm.
And every time I felt very refreshed after a practice. A walk in the forest, we all can feel that refreshness from walking in the forest.
Yeah, sure.
But if we're able to slow down enough,
it is hard.
Really
Yeah.
slow down,
Mm-hmm.
it's much bigger what you get out of the forest.
Mm.
And if you take off your shoes and actually do the grounding, and then you're even getting more benefits from it.
Mm-hmm. So you're doing this as well during the session, grounding, earthing.
Now that it's warmer, yes, everybody can do it. It's an option that I give to the clients.
Mm-hmm.
You have to feel comfortable. It's also, you have to sort of learn also to feel what's happening under your feet so that you don't step on anything hard. But when you're walking slow enough, you become more aware of that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I support that.
Mm-hmm. And who are your clients actually, and what do they want to achieve during forest buffing?
So let's see. My clients are people, anyone that's living in the city who's feeling stressed, sort of needing support not being able to recharge, that some people just feeling need to recharge.
Yeah, some people doesn't know how to do this anymore because they are just all the time in their head. And even if they are walking to the forest, sometimes they even listen to the music instead of just try to listen to the nature. And maybe it's hard for them how to switch from such a urban life to such a nature.
It is, because it's practices, right? So, and we've created habits of behavior. And if this is not a habit, then you just, don't have how to do it. We're so used to talking to each other. And that's actually the hardest part, to be in a group and not need to have to talk. To be okay with silence, instead of putting out the energy, letting the energy come in, So it's being afferent and taking in the information instead of always putting it out. So yeah, sort of, it's people that feel that they're missing that connection to the natural world and need a bit of support on slowing down.
Yeah.
So with these exercises, we do that. We practice how to slow down. Okay.
Makes sense.
But it's what I wanted to say. It's you're inquiring into what's happening, without having a specific expectations. You just see what is happening as you slow down.
And when you are walking, do you have some path that you usually take, or you are just following some senses and you're just wandering around?
No, because I since I am leading, I do walk people in a specific trail that I've created.
Okay.
A walk where we have the different environments. You get a feeling that you're in the forest, and and we don't get lost, so we can do a loop sort of thing.
Yeah. And
and I time it, sort of.
Okay. And how long actually it takes? Such
2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours. It's you're not walking a great distance. It is, but you're walking so slow that it really takes a long time to do a short distance.
And you are stopping and you are trying to smell something sometimes or touch.
Yeah, exactly. What I do is we do a little exercise, and then we sort of bring it into practice as we walk. Then we stop again, we do another little exercise, and then we practice it as we walk.
Okay, I understand. And how often do you recommend to do such a session?
Sort of, how often, I was saying to you, you find that you start with one time and then you want more and then you want more. So there isn't a specific, it's just kind of what it feels like. You feel it
when you need it.
When you need it, Of course, the more you connect to nature, the stronger is the pathway, and then the easier it is to be supported by it, to reconnect, So the more you practice, the easier it becomes to do the exercises to make the connection with nature. And also you're getting all this, the chemicals from the trees on your skin, that are very supportive. The pinins, the alpha pinins and the beta pinins, and they fall from the evergreens onto your skin, and that's
some bacteria from the ground.
Yeah, so the more you do it, the stronger it gets.
Yeah. And could you tell me how many participants can be in one session? Like how big the group can be, if they are not disrupting?
It's better to keep the group small, so that you can really immerse yourself in the forest. I find it that, if it's bigger than 7, it gets, we start to bounce each other, and there's too much brain activity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to slow down. So 7 is sort of the maximum I've done. Yeah, 7 is the number I like, but smaller works really well too. Then it's easier to see the wildlife, If, you have 14 feet rustling the leaves, you have to learn how to be quiet so that the animals don't feel scared. And it has also to do with slowing down to this sort of theta waves, this brain waves that are very slow and big. That's more in the face of the forest.
Mm-hmm. So it's basically really slow usually.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very slow. No, it's like
that's probably hard sometimes for some people. No,
it is very hard. I mean, the practice is simple, but not easy.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that you have to learn to not to have a goal. There's nowhere to go. You're trying to just be.
Just enjoy the moment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, and with each step you take, it's like you're stepping on the earth, on the ground, but you're connecting to it as something divine. It's nature, and you don't want to disturb it, and yeah, it's a very sensual practice.
Just basically try to blend in.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Into the forest.
Blending into the forest. Yeah.
And do participants need to somehow prepare for such a session or bring something with them?
Well, right now that it's warm, all you really need is water. You should know your system. If you need to have a snack, how long can you go without a snack? But it's not cold. When it's a bit colder, since you're walking so slow, you need to be dressed properly. But right now it's warm enough that you don't need anything. Whatever you need specifically for you to make yourself comfortable. And sort of disconnect from society, from the telephone for 2 hours. So what's going to make you feel okay? Sort of, that's what I ask people.
And for example, how long it takes to get some effects, some results after some few sessions? Like some clients feel more relaxed, or if they are really stressed, if they manage to somehow help themselves after a few sessions?
Well, I would say in this situation, you feel it immediately after. By the end of the walk, you feel a change. And so you feel a change. Yes, you would have to be really noticing the changes within to make the connections between one and another. But yeah, so it's kind of an immediate thing. For the distress, for just a wellness feeling. Yeah, it's immediate. It's by the end of the session, you feel changed.
Yeah,
your mind has slowed down. You're relaxed. There's a little bit. Thoughts are the mind becomes more quiet. So you're not worrying about things. So that supports you not stressing, and that supports your immune system. And that's one. They go one after another.
So basically, it also helps for the immune system, and there are some another benefits, like some mental, of course, like less stress. But is there something else?
Well, like I said, there's when you connect to nature deeply, you feel supported, so you don't feel alone, you don't feel isolated. so that that supports, you don't feel depressed. Yeah, and the sort of the strengthening of the immune system because of the lack of stress, because you're connecting to nature, and also because of the pinnings that fall on your skin. So it's actually very good if the more skin you have exposed.
Just the ticks. I would be afraid of the ticks.
I was thinking about that because there's a lot of deer here. And they really, I see them on a daily basis. They just kind of,
that's nice.
Yeah. But I think it has to do with doing the practice like this, because other people I've talked to don't see it so much. But if you slow down enough, they don't feel threatened by you. And you also become more comfortable with just natural life, insects, dirt, water.
That's probably hard for people who usually like spend time in some really clean environment.
Yeah, but it also makes your immune system stronger, right? I mean, we say that with the little kids, right? Get dirty, go in the mud. It's all good for us. What did I? Yeah.
And how people can reach you? I found you on your Facebook group. Yes, it's called the Forest Buffing.
Yes.
Prague 21, right?
Yes, that's this here because we're still within the district, and I'm just doing it here because you don't need a big space, really. So even though we walk on the same trail every time, the forest is changing every day. Every single day there's something new. The leaves are growing, and you walk slow enough, you'll notice different things. So you don't need a lot of space. And this place is perfect because I know it also well, so that's why I can guide you through it. And then you can practice it anywhere. So you really take something with you. And it just started like that. Yes, through the Facebook group. I also invite, my clients, if you feel like you do this, but you need even more support, then I welcome you to do the craniosacral therapy. And also I can show clients where if they like the mindful exercises we do, then we can also do, private sessions where people can learn the movements so that they can practice at home. It's really, the more you're able to connect to your body sensations, then it gives you another layer to navigate through life.
And do you notice in your practice that people are like more disconnected to the nature, or they are trying to be more connected? How it looks like these days?
Yeah, we have this tendency to need to label things and to categorize. That's the mental activity, right? To be like, okay, there's a tree. Oh, look at that bush. Oh, look at that bird. And all of this disconnects us from the actual experience of just sensing it. We want to label it, give it a name, and that brings us into our minds. So that's the practice too. And yeah, we live at such a fast pace. It's the way that culture has developed. So but we all need to reconnect to nature. I mean, people are getting sick more than ever.
Yeah.
And the forest is really here. It gives us the air, to breathe. So with each breath, you can connect to nature, See that how you really are supported, even if you don't realize it, you're being supported with each breath to connect to nature. And we're giving back also with our out breath. We feed the forest. So it's an exchange. And we just need to realize how we need each other. We need to support each other constantly. And we need to take care of each other.
It's nice, but we are not aware of that usually, how important it is for us, this connection to the nature.
Yeah. And that's one of the main things why I started to do this forest bathing. Because we need to realize how interdependent we are. And we understand it conceptually. But if you're in the forest and you're realizing that with each breath, the leaves, the nature has created that air for you to breathe. Then when
you are explaining it, I just want to go out and walk.
Yeah, excellent. So that's it, And yes, it's a passion. I love that, and being able to share with others, because we need to do it in a group. We need support. We need to feel supported. This social distancing, this isolation is not healthy for us. So we need to reconnect. And if we can do it in small groups in nature.
And do you do this usually during the weekend, or you have some?
Yes. Yes. I've been doing it, like a morning session and an afternoon session, depending on the demand. But since I'm living here, I'm here to provide it. If there's people who want a private group, like a private tour, I also do that. If you want to come with your friends then I can also do that. Anybody that has interest, I'm happy to support and find a way to support them.
Okay. Thank you very much. And it was really nice to talk to you. I'm really interested in this topic, and we will publish this on our Urban Creatives website.
Excellent.